Looking forward to seeing Tiago Muxanga tonight. First time in the UK, teaming up with Johnny Clark, top tier, and he's got Marley Dan in his corner as well. He's been raving about him and the sparring he's been doing with
round
the stablemate Konstantin Ursu, who of course tops the bill, defending his Commonwealth title a little later on. Lots of people thinking that Muxanga might do a number on Collison tonight. That's big talk for a guy who's as tough and reliable, Andy, as Collison is.
It is big talk because we saw that fight, those fights against Selamutu. We know what he can do, Collison. And those fights you mentioned against Agyarko and against Red Johnson outdoors in Barnsley, I was ringside for the fight against Red Johnson. He was down in both of those, and he still toughed it out to go the distance, so it shows that he really wants it. So this is a good match. Muxanga is one of those guys who, if you go to an Olympic Games and you're looking to try and talent spot and find someone who's not going to be inundated with offers, and he's the kind of guy you're looking for because he's got a lot of top international experience, and he went out of the Olympics on a split to the guy who eventually won gold. And with respect to Mozambique, boxing under that federation is not the same as boxing for GB or Kazakhstan or Uzbekistan or the USA. You're not going to have as good a conditions as other people. So when you add all of those things up, you look at somebody like him and feel like he could do something. And he definitely always had a style more suited to the pros. So I'm excited to see how this goes. I know he's been doing some good sparring in and around London. DAZN, for example. And he's solid, isn't he? You look at him there up in the ring. Physically, he's impressive.
Indeed. You see he's got the Olympic rings tattoos on his torso. Trying to pin Collison down, not so easy through the first couple of minutes. Collison a moving, revolving target. And he has, I mean, he's fought up at super middle, hasn't he, Collison, previously as well, even although this 154 is probably more of his natural habitat. But he's really strong, dependable. So Muxanga's he's gonna have to work this out. He's gonna have to put things together. Muxanga trying to cut the ring off. Collison managing to maintain the distance so far through the first round.
Just using that outer clock face, isn't he? Good left-handed to the body there from Muxanga, but Collison looks to pursue him and try and get on top of him. It was a bit ragged, slightly ungainly, but the intent was there.
Yeah, it just underlines the attitude of Collison, doesn't it? Sort of stung into action. And just at a moment when Tiago had sort of closed the gap and managed to get close, he whipped in a couple of wicked-looking body shots. And Collison will fire back, and it might be in those exchanges where he's going to be open, there might be opportunities. There's Marley Dan, who'll be in the corner for our top of the bill a bit later on, but Muxanga's done loads of sparring, 3 times a week apparently with Konstantin Ursu, and that'll be some of the best sparring around at the moment. He was sharing some ring time with Azim as well, as Andy was touching on, so they're giving him plenty of good preparation in the build-up to this one, and I suspect Marley Dan will be just calming him down after that first 3 minutes.
You mentioned it, the
corners, 10 seconds.
It's cutting off the ring, isn't it, and picking his moments. When to really try and corner Collison and land some leather. It's not going to be the easiest thing in the world, but he does have time here. With this being scheduled for 8, that is a serious duration.
Oh, it's a good right hand. He almost followed it up with a left hook there as well. Typically, Collison comes bouncing back. But it's a good statement of intent, putting him in with Collison tonight. Shows you they're not happy just to bowl opponents over. He's again throwing in some wicked body shots when he gets up close, Muxanga.
You wonder if they might take a toll as we head deeper into the fight, because when he gets tight, he's banged in with that left hand to the body a few times now.
Oh, he clipped him there, Collison. And that's the thing, he is going to fire back, Collison. And so, a couple of times Muxanga is in range, almost head to chest. You wonder if he can just take that little step back, whether he might have a bit of an opportunity. He's looking to bully Collison here, and those are meaty shots going in.
It's an interesting battle at the moment, isn't it? Because there's that left hand again, this time into the pit of the stomach. But you're right, Muxanga is trying to bully Collison. Collison's trying to let him know that he won't have that. He'll grab him like he does there and try and walk him back and get on top of him himself and do everything he can not to let that happen. He's upped it this second round, Muxanga, hasn't he? Quite significantly, and he's having to work very hard here, Collison.
Oh, he nearly caught him with the uppercut. He followed it up with the overhand right. The left hook is the shot that he's been trying to measure Collison with throughout this round, and there is just a growing sense that he's getting there, getting closer anyway. Again, a little open in those exchanges when he's trying to get off himself, Muxanga, but he wants to fight, and it's a fan-friendly style. He's putting him in the line of fire from time to time, but there is just an anticipation growing here.
He's good to watch. I don't think we had too much doubt about that from his amateur career, that he would be a good pro to watch. Just a few moments ago, he took a little step off to the left-hand side, landed a right hand straight down the middle, so that little step just gave him a slightly different angle. So I think there's a bit more subtlety to him than there might first appear to be at times.
And actually, you can see why it'd be good sparring for both he and Ursu. I mean, Ursu up against a sort of strong 154-pounder. He's up against Amos later on for that welterweight title fight, and Amos is coming down in weight from 154, so having a bigger, stronger prospect like Muxanga in sparring, I think that'll be good work for Ursu, who's coming up later on. And actually, we've got a bit of a Dan Bendel rematch going on with the corners here, because Marley Dan is in the corner of Muxanga. Stevie Bendel is on the other side of the ropes in the corner of Harley Collison. And it's about 20 years ago that Scott Dan, cousin of Marley, stopped Stevie Bendel in a British title fight a couple of decades ago. Beat Paul Smith, didn't he, Stevie Bendel?
Corners, 10 seconds.
Wasn't he? I think he boxed out of Coventry, didn't he? Had a Triumph BC. He was kind of legendary, really.
Yeah,
seconds out, round
good operator,
3.
Stevie Bendel.
That, by the way, is the level of research that we have come to expect from A. Steedman. That was top draw.
As we move into round 3 of a scheduled 8, and there's pressure coming from Muxanga, who wants to land the big shot. He's so eager to let the artillery go.
But this is what Collison's looking to do. I described it in the previous round. He's determined not to let Muxanga feel like he's the physically stronger one that can throw him around. So although he looks a bit ungainly at times, he'll get on him, lean on him, pin him into the corner, really set those feet back and try and just get on top of him, quite literally.
That's what I like to see from Tiago. Just give himself a little bit more space so he can land those hooks to the body. He landed them both sides in that previous exchange. I don't think there's any problem with the power. It's just creating the openings, finding the space to deliver it. Oh, nice left hand and a wicked body shot. And for the first time, Collison maybe in a little bit of bother.
That's a punishing straight right from Muxanga as well. He's just got to keep the distance here and not allow Collison to grab hold of him and smother him. bit of blood coming from somewhere. I think some scuffing really around the left cheekbone, just between the cheekbone and the ear there of Collison. Not really a cut, more of a graze, a bit of rubbing maybe.
Referee just having a little bit of a word and straight back to it. Collison firing back in the moments that he can. Just got to be so careful with some of these heavy shots, but that's what you're going to get from Collison. As game as it comes.
You can see the power there when he throws those hooks, though. Muxanga, physically, that's what he's set up for. Slim waist just tapers out into a massive pair of shoulders. You don't see him throw too many jabs, do you? I think that's one thing that we've observed about him so far. He'll swagger onto the inside like he did there and look to get to work.
Yeah, every shot has intention, doesn't it? And you fancy that's something they'll be taking away from the tape and working on this going forward. But there's a little, maybe the heads or a punch, but the right eye just to the side of Collison, just a little graze or a nick there. Not a thing to worry about.
A good jab is what you need against somebody like Muxanga, isn't it? Because you know that he's going to come slipping and sliding forward, quite square at times almost, like we used to see Mike Tyson do back in the day. It's the dropping of the height, the changing of the levels. And
referee just having a word with Muxanga. He did bundle Collison to the ground there. It's looking a little more ruffled, Collison. I mean, hands on hips as if he's not bothered, but there are smudges of blood. Mouth a little more open now. The body shots have been fairly meaty. He's still cramping his space, isn't he? He still hits a ball there, Muxanga, as well. And he was clipped in that exchange. I'm not sure if he was moved in any way by that, but he's a bit reckless, isn't he?
He is at times, but you look at the other side of the ring and there's some damage there, isn't there? There's blood coming out at the end of the nose. There's that kind of graze, as I described it, on the left cheekbone, and then there's some more serious damage to the corner of the right eye. We don't know exactly how that was caused. It looks like there's a cut and a bit of swelling, so maybe it's more likely that was caused by a clash of heads, but he is strong and he is physical, and he's just looking to get on top of you, Muxanga. He's completely expressionless as well, and I like that kind of blank look about a fighter.
That was the best sequence, wasn't it, Andy, where he actually, all of those heavy power shots were getting through, and for the first time he was actually getting Collison where he wanted him, and that was through the feet and the power punching. So that was the best sequence we saw. Landed an uppercut when he was squared against the ropes, and it looked like for the first time he really did have Collison in a bit of bother as we move into the next, the fourth of a scheduled 8.
Kicks off the round there with a big whipping overhand right, Collison, and it's interesting when you watch these kinds of fights. Collison seems to be coping okay with this. He's soaking up what he's been given okay so far, but you see fights like this where somebody's coping until they're not, and Muxanga, I think, is one of those guys. He's again just looking to get on the front foot, apply that pressure, and he will know better than anyone where Collison is at, kind of energy-wise and strength-wise, because he'll be able to feel it when he gets a hold of him.
Nice little use of the feet prior to that right to the body there from Muxanga. He's actually getting away from Collison to then move on to the next phase. So maybe now at halfway we're going to see a more rhythmic and measured approach from him. You see him getting on his feet. Going to be a busy spell for him, Andy. Actually, I know you're going out to the amateur championships in Dubai over the next couple of weeks. I think Tiago will be joining you there. Then he's going to have a pro fight out in Thailand, I believe, around Christmas time as well. So busy little period. They're going to cram in the experience with him.
Well, it's well worth him coming over to Dubai, because it's been the case for a long time now that you can run those amateur and pro careers concurrently. It's not the easiest thing to do. You look at someone like Bakary Jalolov, somebody we know well and have seen a lot. carrying on in the amateurs for him has come at the expense of his pro career. I don't think he'll ever really get there as a pro myself. He may as well go back to the amateurs and look to try and win a third Olympic gold. It's a hard thing to do concurrently because they are still very different, but there's a lot of prize money on offer. And for this kind of fighter with this kind of style in the 3-round fight, what we'll see from him in Dubai won't be that different from what we see from him here, other than he might start a bit quicker.
A bit more of a measured approach in this 4th round. Might just bring some opportunities. That's a wicked long right hand to the body, and he is chipping away at Collison there repeatedly. And Collison firing back. I don't know if he thought he'd clipped him, whether he thought he was moved him, but he was straight onto it, Collison. But he's got that fighter's mentality, hasn't he? And maybe that was part of it.
Something must have happened there, because you could see how quickly he pounced on Muxanga as a result of the punch he landed. So he definitely felt like he made some kind of impact.
But he's that kind of guy, Collison, isn't he? I think in times when he's hurt, he is the kind of guy who'll immediately fire back. It's resistance, it's a kind of stubbornness, it's a fighting instinct. And it did come at a time where it looked like Muxanga was sort of catching him in his own corner again. As ever, the matchmakers and the managers and the promoters are always forward-thinking. They certainly got the route over the next few months and into the next year sort of mapped out for Tiago Muxanga. Harley Collison's going to have his own ideas about that, but Dubai Amateur Championships, Thailand, in December, and then talk of Kokandi, February next year, and that would be a bit of a fireball of a fight. I think we've seen Kokandi on a top tier already, and he's a bit of a handful himself. So that's what the roadmap's looking like or sounding like, one way or another.
No, that definitely would be interesting. That really would be interesting. I do feel, and I mentioned it before, that they'll have to make a decision when it comes to the amateurs. I totally understand him coming back for this World Championships. Why not do it? The prizes on offer are significant, life-changing, really. $300,000 US for a gold medal, for example, and it goes down to silver medals, bronze medals, and beyond. And he's just caught him with the left hand there.
He did catch him, and he'd sort of built up to that with a couple of heavy power shots. Again, that's a huge right hand. Again, he's got that slightly gawky, ungainly gait, Collison. So sometimes it does look like perhaps he's more hurt than he is. But a left and a short right hand gets through again. Uncomfortable moments for Collison either way. And maybe some of the heavy shots really starting to get through.
I think they are. I think this round might be an important round. I think this could be the one where he feels like...
Hurt him, left hand to the body. He hurt him. I don't know if the ref is going to count this.
4,
he is.
5,
he definitely
6,
hurt him with that.
7,
I think ultimately
8.
whether he slumped to the ground or was pushed, but it started with a left hand.
You could see the grimace, couldn't you, from where we were sitting. We had a really good view, and I was just about to say that I think this is the round. This could go down as the round where he really makes that dent, where he feels like he's beginning to break him, and evidence of it right on cue there, that left into the body, a bit of a grimace. He tried not to go down, then I think realised that it was the only thing to do, and he's got a minute plus left in the round here.
And there's blood streaming from the nose of Collison, and in truth you can see his defence is becoming a little more ragged, a little harder to control himself, a little harder to fight back in those spurts, and you do sense as he's bundled to the ground
2,
again.
3,
Collison, this
4,
is going to be counted
5,
2.
6,
the corner might
7,
be having a good look
8.
because this is getting harder, and Collison's a tough guy, and the referee's seen enough. And the truth is, Collison could have carried on. He could have carried on. He would have carried on. He's that kind of guy, that kind of fighter. But he was starting to break down.
He'd had enough. He'd had enough by that point, and I don't blame him, because you saw when Sean McAvoy waved it off there was the obligatory brief protest from Collison, and nothing more than that, because we said earlier in the fight, didn't we, that in these kinds of fights, a fighter is coping until they're not, because there is that kind of tipping point where the punches start to really have an effect, and there was that left hand into the body, and he tried to stay up, like I said. There's an evil little grin on the face there of Muxanga, because he'll know, won't he? He'll know in clinches, he will feel the energy and the strength just gradually kind of leaving his opponent, because he's that kind of fighter who gets up close and really smells you, doesn't he? So he knows what you've got left, and that probably wouldn't have come as a surprise to him. He probably felt like that moment was arriving, he was getting there, Yes, he's aggressive, but he's also relatively patient, to be honest, because, as I said, he's expressionless. He goes about his business, he chipped away, as you described it, and then well out from the tape. It was too much, wasn't it?
Well, they've been, behind the scenes, they've been kind of talking this guy up, and in truth, more than hinting that this is what was going to unfold. So fair play. I thought it would be a big statement if kind of this happens. It is. There are rough edges to be smoothed out. There are bits that other opponents will lick their lips at, but it's early days.
4 seconds of round number 5. Your winner by TKO and still undefeated, Tiago Muxanga.
Strong performance that. Strong performance from Tiago Muxanga. 2 wins, 2 knockouts, and the first to stop the ultra-tough and game Harley Collison.
There's plenty to like, isn't there?
Fan-friendly.
Very much so, very much so. He has his method, he knows what he's going to do. There aren't going to be too many surprises with him. I think there's a bit more subtlety there than it might first appear. You need a jab if you're going to stop him, don't you? You need to throw a good, solid, reliable jab. Catch him on the way. You have to catch him clean to the head. There's quite a big target there, because, as we said, he swaggers in a little bit square. If you just hit him with a good, solid jab in the chest, on the shoulder, make him reset and start again. You've got to have one of them if you're going to beat him.
Yeah, lots to like, and still lots to work on for them as a team as well. But strong performance, and he's going to be a bit of a handful, this fella, isn't he? Busy few months coming up for him. He's talking to Ali.
Tiago, you looked happy with that result. That another stoppage, second pro fight, second pro stoppage. Are you happy with that result?
Yes, I'm so happy. Yeah.
Right, we'll bring in Coach Marley. A very tough opponent for a second pro fight, but that's credit to what you believe he can do in the ring.
Yeah, I was scouting Tiago, and I've seen him in with the elite amateurs in the world, and I genuinely believe that over more rounds, Tiago is going to be a problem for pretty much anyone.
Because he had his pro debut only a few weeks ago. That was the first round stoppage. He got a few more rounds under his belt today, but still another stoppage. Yeah,
we knew the opponent was going to be very tough. He fought a very good boxer not so long ago on the undercard of Constantine Arsu, and he seen the final bout. He was a very durable fighter, so we knew that if we could get him out of before the final bout, we was ultimately going to have some doors open for us. So yeah, I'm pretty happy.
And he's got a busy few weeks ahead. Do you want to just talk us through the sort of schedule that he's got coming up over the next month or so?
Yeah, tomorrow morning he's flying out to Dubai and boxing in the IBA World Championships. And then he's going to be flying from Dubai straight to Thailand, and he'll be boxing a pretty good fighter out there also. So that should be him covered up into January, and then back for camp for Johnny Clark.
How difficult is it to manage the fact that he's now a professional but also still competing in the amateurs?
Well, that's not going to last for long. Tiago's quality will come through, and he will move faster than most people will. So I believe this will be the last time he will be representing Mozambique as an amateur, and this is his final farewell to that.
And obviously bright future in the pro ranks. Johnny Clark has signed him, getting him on these top tier shows and on a huge platform like DAZN as well. It's important, especially at this stage of his pro career.
Yeah, absolutely. But look, that is his only second fight, and he's only been in the UK for 3 months, so we've got work to do. We're not in a rush, but we're ready.
It was a fantastic performance. Great to have you on a top tier show, and good luck next week in Dubai.
Thank you.